Hello. I'm Lori Alvarez, and I welcome you to Real Estate with Soul, the podcast. This is where I will share my story, knowledge, wisdom, and the legacy in real estate, and my family, all boldly wrapped up in one with you. So let's get started. Oh my goodness.
Stop.
We are starting. Oh, Tim's stopping already.
Why? I just realized that she didn't turn the lights on.
Oh my gosh. He just realized he has to go potty.
To have that glow off the top of my bald head for real good effect. I just realized that I got all this money I spent on this stuff and it's not been turned on. So, all right, now we got that glow. We know it's good. Woo! Powder, please.
So powder sister. So this is Lori Alvarez and
Amy Cruz
and
Tim Harrison.
Tim Harrison.
Right.
From Straight Up Mortgage Talk.
That is right. So have you, Tim?
Thank you.
We'll open with right. So
Yes, Lori.
I bought my sister, my buyer's agent, a little thing that says you are a badass realtor.
Nice.
Right?
Isn't that awesome?
I love that. I love that.
Right?
You know, because
I didn't know you use such language, but I do. So
she normally doesn't.
that's what I thought.
Never.
So we are all about inspiring our team and inspiring our buyers because this market is so challenging right now, as you know, Mr. Lender of the Year.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating for the buyers. They want the house and they're fighting with all their friends and family and other people that they don't even know for the same house. So
Seriously.
Being best position is all what I'm about. You got to get yourself in such a great position that you reduce the number of obstacles a seller has to think about so that your offer gets chosen over the others, period.
I love that language because that's exactly what it is, right? That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So, okay, first, Tim.
You sell a lot of property. So, you know, if you have 15 different offers, you're going to go after that one that you know is going to close, not create problems for your seller who could be yelling at you later, who wants to buy their next house. Yeah. So the most guaranteed close at the potential highest price, not always the highest price, right? Because a lot of times you see these high prices come out from people who aren't really that well qualified and may not close. So that's not the best price for your seller. Telling the seller, hey, this one is good and it can close. That's what we try to put them in the position for.
That is the truth, right? It is the truth. So first, Tim, how long you been in business?
I stopped counting at 25, but I'm going on like 28 or 29.
I love you.
I didn't want to, I was trying not to age myself, but as soon as I lost the hair, there was no hope for that anymore.
Yeah, right. The glare. You were talking about the glare.
That's right.
Yes. So, okay. So here's the deal. Tim was on like episode number 2 of the podcast or something. So we're on now episode number 71. Can you believe it?
So what she's saying, I was not that great that I had to wait till from 2 to all the way to 71 to get asked back again. So I'm not sure if I should take that as a compliment or what. But I'm gonna. Oh my gosh! But at least I got asked back, right?
That's right.
I got a second date, baby.
That's right. You are so dynamic, and you have so much to offer. And today we're just gonna talk about, VA home loans. So I say, VA home loans. Don't get me wrong. I am the daughter of a veteran. My dad is Air Force. Abe's dad is Army. So we are VA 100%. But when a agent who's listing a house sees a VA offer, they go, oh no. Why, Tim? Why?
Yeah, Lori, I mean, I understand there's a lot of concern when realtors are listing properties and get VA loan offer. They're concerned about the VA loan. And quite possibly and most likely I've seen it because I get the calls from those listing agents like, should I accept this?
Yeah.
And their concern is really, and again, I use this term as it's intended by definition, ignorant, not familiar with the product and why they should use it. And as my stepdad, who's, Vietnam vet, taught me, he said, he used to be offended when he told me I was ignorant. And I'm like, no, he said, no, ignorance is just not knowing. It's not that you're too stupid to learn. It's just, you just don't know. And so I used to really be, but it really is when realtors become familiar with the product, they want other realtors to really understand what a great VA loan is. Because we have people that served our country. They should get like a good opportunity to get that home. And if I was a seller, I kind of feel bad not to give them a real fair advantage on that property to some degree, as long as I felt like it was going to close and I was going to get what I needed to move forward. So to me, I get that there's a lack of sort of understanding among some realtors, even a lot of veterans, because they don't know what they have and what an amazing benefit it is. Because it's not like they get a book of benefits and says, oh, wow, this is an amazing thing. They don't. They have to call somebody like you or I to really figure out this is probably one of the sweetest benefits they get.
Yeah, it really is. It is. So let's get into that, right? So we're going to talk a little bit today. Obviously, we've started the conversation around VA loans because I am a big supporter, being the daughter of a veteran, as I told you earlier, right? You are as well. The son of a veteran, my sister.
I was going to say, I used to be a daughter. I'm a son now. Just kidding.
So, number one, I think the fantastic thing, and the reason I wanted to have this conversation with you is that so many people don't understand that one, VA loan is an option, and two, how amazing the loan program actually is, starting with the down payment. How much down payment does a VA buyer need?
You know what? I love your enthusiasm, and I like even better that I get to give a phenomenal answer. Nothing, zero, nada. They don't have to have a down payment at all. They do have to have closing costs, prepaid taxes, homeowners insurance, lender title, escrow, maybe around 10 grand, depending on the purchase price, but no down payment.
Wow.
Not at all.
Zero down.
Amazing. So amazing.
So
when you want to give an answer, that's the one to be asked because it's the best answer ever.
Totally. Yeah. However,
down payment, nothing.
Yeah. However, like that commercial, right? It's zero costs. Anyways.
Except the shipping and handling, closing costs.
Yes. Which is next, right? Closing costs. About what are closing costs?
Every loan, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like it's an addition to. If you go Fannie Mae, FHA, VA, jumbo, you're coming in with, minimum FHA 3.5%, upfront mortgage insurance, and monthly mortgage insurance for the life of the loan. On conventional, you're coming up with your closing cost and at least 3 to 5% down. So this is no down payment, and all you have to have is your closing cost.
Yes.
So awesome.
So from what I hear, you can purchase a VA, or I should say, you can get a VA loan with easier qualifications. Why is that?
Well, two things. You served our country, first and foremost, and most important.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, all.
We appreciate you.
Right? Yeah. And thank you, because it's not an easy deal.
No.
Second, because you served our country, our government created the VA loan program to help veterans coming back be able to really establish themselves. And they thought, hey, if you serve our country, we should give you the number one thing, and that's access to homeownership that creates wealth. If we can help you get into homeownership, we can start helping you and your family for generations to come in creating wealth. And so they created the VA loan, and it's called the VA funding fee. And that VA funding fee basically allows us lenders to ensure that we would get any losses up to 30% of the value of the property. So it means that we're not really taking a risk because the government has us covered, but it also means that we can, because we have up to 30% loss, we can take risk that we wouldn't otherwise take on some other loans. Yeah. Lower FICO scores, 600 FICO score, not a problem. You're still getting an amazing rate too. You're getting some of the best rates. VA is one of those that doesn't have much of an impact for a lower credit scores. Yes. Whereas conventional Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, if you had a lower 600 FICO score versus 740, the interest rate or points you would charge is phenomenally different. Versus VA, because it's insured by the government, we have a lot of flexibility what we can allow. Because they don't say, oh, we're not going to insure the 600 FICO score and only the 740. We're insuring them all.
Yes.
As long as you meet the VA guidelines. The income to debt ratios are much more flexible. On a Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, we can go at about 45 to 50% of your gross monthly income. We can go above that on a VA, even with no money down. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, too, is that when I talk about credit, it's the loosest in the industry. VA allows you on a short sale foreclosure to go with only 2 years since that occurrence.
That's crazy to me.
Wow, yeah.
It's phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
So but here's what's funny about the VA loan. We talked about the VA mortgage insurance and all that kind of stuff. Because of the caliber of the person who is a veteran, the default rate is still very low.
Yes.
Wow.
Like they almost have to lose their job and really not be able to, because most of them are going to figure it out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because of that training and the sort of ethics and morals of the people that come out and probably go into our military, but for sure come out.
Yes.
They don't have the same foreclosure rate, even with the 0% down.
Yeah.
It's a pretty interesting statistic.
Yeah, that's so interesting when you think about it from that perspective, right?
Yeah.
So they say that VA loans are actually a lower monthly mortgage payment. Why is that?
One, because they have some of the lowest rates in the industry, even though it's zero down. Mm-hmm. But two, because that VA funding fee is only an upfront mortgage insurance. Even now, remember, if somebody has a 10% disability awarded by Veterans Administration, they don't have to have the VA funding fee at all. They don't have to pay it. Mm-hmm. And when they pay it, when I say they pay it, it's added to the top of the loan. It never comes cash out of pocket.
Yes.
VA funding fee.
Yes.
But even on that, if they're disabled, they have none of that.
Uh-huh.
But all of them, regardless of whether there's an upfront or not, they have no monthly mortgage insurance. So when you're talking about zero down, and we're talking about we can go up to what, $2 million, but like even say on a $450,000 loan or something like that, the mortgage insurance on that, for example, on an FHA that requires 3.5% down. Mm-hmm. One, they have a 1.75% upfront that acts very similar to the VA funding fee. It's called the FHA upfront mortgage insurance premium. But they also have a monthly that's for the life of the loan, which is usually with 3.5% down, a 0.85 factor, which can go anywhere from like $200 to $500 a month. I mean, it could even be higher than that in the higher purchase prices. So the payment's lower on a VA because they're not having to pay the mortgage insurance. Now, once you get up to 20% down and you don't have any mortgage insurance, for example, a Fannie Mae person, the eligible borrower who has a really high FICO score, and maybe that person's a veteran as well, they may be just as well going with a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loan, especially if they're not eligible for no VA funding fee.
Yes.
That might make sense for them to go. And that's for us lenders to help them determine what's the best way for them to go.
Yes.
But again, if we have lower FICO scores, we have credit history, VA, that's the deal. It's going to be the best for them.
So that's I guess where I would say, like, first and foremost, when a buyer, when a person, let's start with just, I'm a person right now, and you know what, I served, and now I think maybe I have a VA loan option. I don't know, maybe. How do they figure that out? What is the first step in that area? What is your thoughts?
So if they're a veteran, like for example, our online loan application, ask them, are you a veteran? Because we know we want to try to sell them that product as the best product for their opportunities. First things first. Once we know if they've ever been a veteran, then we can go where you honorably discharged. We can go through the stuff. Once we have their social security number, there's access that VA approved lenders have that goes in there and can check based on that social security number what their eligibility is. Have they had a loan in the past that they didn't restore the eligibility, whatnot? We can see based on that what their full eligibility is and if it's available. So first things first is if your lender doesn't ask right up front on the loan application, like let them know you're a veteran. and say, is that an option for me? And make sure they look into it because it's a dang good option.
Yes.
And so
seriously,
that's the first thing you want to explore is the VA loan the best option for what you're doing?
Yes. Well, and I want to add to that, sister. Did you hear him? As our buyer's agent, we want to make sure when we have buyers who come to us direct or someone
Right.
who says, like one of my son's best friends who's currently in the military, and I know he's going to be getting out here pretty shortly.
Right.
I've already told him, dude, I have you all planned out. I know what we're doing. We're going to get a VA loan and we're going to get out there and buy a house. And he's like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, I do.
Yes, you are. We know.
But we
Well,
need to make
and
sure we ask
again-
that question.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And a couple of things about VA loan, just to clarify, for example, with a conventional loan or an FHA loan, you can have non-occupant co-borrowers help you qualify. You can have your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, right? Somebody else that's going to be on the loan with you. They don't really care who it is you can buy together. On a VA loan, it's a little bit stricter, and they really do look for married couple or both people on the loan to have served and be eligible.
Yeah.
It's not as simple as, hey, I'll just, and I don't know if that kind of goes back to the past or whatever else where, things are a bit more conservative, as much as you have a lot of really young veterans get out and maybe they want to make sure the insurance is kind of a little bit better. And having that super young person that's buying the house with the first person they met maybe doesn't work out so well for the fund.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's just a little
Right.
stricter than the other loans. I don't want to,
Yeah.
I'm guessing it's, thought out a little bit, but I'm not sure.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So that goes back to what we were just talking about, right? VA loan eligibility. The requirements for the eligibility with regards to that is they're more, from what I heard you say, please correct me, you're the lender, not me. From what I heard you say, they're a little more specific. They want you to potentially be married and or both of you served if there's more than one person on the loan.
Or qualify on your own. They don't really care if you're married. They just won't use the income for
yes,
that person.
that's good.
Oh,
Good
okay.
point.
So they want, I think the deal is they're not making a status thing like, oh, you got to be married or,
Right.
we're making those kind of claims. What
Yes.
they want to do is I think they want to make sure that there's either a real formal commitment for the people on the loan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they don't even allow non-occupant co-borrowers like parents and stuff like that. So
Yes.
I think it's more about, they really want to make sure that whoever's going to be on that loan, and I guess they assumed if somebody's married, then that's, more secure that they'll stay together or whatnot,
Yes.
or that the veteran could qualify on their own. So that if something happens with the significant other or the friend they were going to buy with, they can still handle it without ending up in foreclosure.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. So then
But again, I don't know because it's a big dark mystery. Why that? I don't know why the rules that, but I'm just,
That's the
taking
rule.
an educated guess. I know it's the rule, and they, by the way,
Yes.
people will read that you can do this and you could, buy with the person and all that, and it is possible, but it's very, very difficult. It's almost impossible, and so I'm telling people not necessarily 100% the guidelines. I'm talking about the reality of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to add to that, Tim. I just recently, and when I say recently, it was probably in the last 120 days, had a listing of 2 young men were being represented by someone else and some other lender. And they were both VA buyers, and it was a VA loan. And 60 days later, they couldn't close on my listing because the lender had not done all his due diligence in the beginning. And I guess he needed to do extra stuff because it was 2 brothers who served on this VA loan, and he didn't do the extra stuff. Does that make sense?
Sounds like you didn't check the eligibility because either one, they already had some of the eligibility used.
Yes.
Not a lot of extra work in other than checking their eligibility. So I'm guessing that that's what they told you, but I'm guessing one of the brothers wasn't actually eligible, and the lender thought they could use the income like on other loans for
Yes.
somebody who wasn't a veteran They thought they could use the brother who's a veteran and the other brother who's not, and found out maybe that's not the case.
Yeah.
So
wow.
Yeah. So that's why, I don't care whether it's a VA loan or any loan now. We know right now, as the date of this podcast, that inventory is tight.
Yeah.
And especially when you're doing a VA loan and you want to put your offer out there with potentially zero down, because compared to people with 20 and 30% down or cash or whatever, if you want a fighting chance, I use that because it's veteran. You like that? Fighting chance? I like that. So really, I'm so proud of myself. I had to mention it to make sure people figured it out. See, I'm a little crazy that way. But you really want to go as far as you can in the loan process to get approved. Again, VA or not, but especially on VA, because you're going against what we've talked about, these listing agents who are a little bit, should I really take a VA loan because it's, no money down, and and the sellers are a little bit, they have to understand it too. It's not just the listing agents. They have to be able to basically convince a seller that these things are solid.
Yes.
The VA appraisers are good. They're the most experienced out there to get on that panel. They really know what they're doing, and they spend the time for the veterans really working on getting that value. So that's one of the things. I think people expect the value is going to be low because it's zero down. That really doesn't happen a lot. Because if it's within the market, obviously we're not looking for fraud. They want to make sure the value's there, but we do also for the veterans we're basically serving, right? But on that deal, getting them the furthest approved that they can, meaning, for example, getting the certificate of eligibility to make sure they're eligible, that they're gonna have that VA backing that they need. Making sure that they can be fully underwritten. Like right now, I have a VA shopper. He's fully approved. The only thing we're looking for is escrow prelim title.
Yep.
That's it. Or escrow prelim appraisal. That's it.
Yep.
So we don't need anything else on that. Most of the buyers we're dealing with now, but especially on VA, if you can write an offer with no loan contingencies for a VA, that's helps a lot with the listing agent.
Yes.
Like there's no contingency. Like we're putting the deposit at risk because we're that confident because we already had it go through underwriting.
Yes.
It's approved.
Yes.
Give me an appraisal, give me title, give me escrow, and we're off to that. And what that also does is mean we could close in 15 days.
Look at that. Look at that.
15 days for a VA loan?
Now you take the VA borrower from being, or any of the borrowers, quite frankly, but especially the VA borrowers, because that's who we want to serve because they served us, from being what a listing agent might not want to really consider to, dang, no loan contingencies. That gets their attention every time.
Totally.
Yep. So with that said, then the important points are they need to contact a VA lender. Not all lenders can do VA loans, correct?
No, and not all lenders who can do VA loans should.
I can affirm that.
Especially coming out of this refi mania, you're going to deal with a lot of lenders who only did refinances.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're now trying to put a deal together and saying they do VAs. I've been doing VA, and this is, again, no hair experience. I've been doing VA loans since Desert Storm.
Yes.
So I have a lot of experience doing VA loans, and I know how to guide these people. A lot of times, lenders will actually be talked out, or veterans will be actually talked out of doing a VA loan by a lender because they're not familiar with their product and don't really know it and don't know how to get that certificate of eligibility and get all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And even though it was the best product for them, they got talked out of it.
That's
and
so
that
sad.
Makes me crazy.
Yeah.
Guys, we're, everybody, we are living the kind of life we lead because of people who have served. I mean, that's just the fact. I mean, it's not the only thing, but it's a dang important thing.
Yes.
And to not make sure that they're getting the best opportunities that they deserve it's one of the things that infuriates me. I would rather give a loan away and make sure that the person who knows what they're doing handles that than not to give them the best product. And I think veterans especially, not only that, like go to somebody that the realtors out there knows VA loans.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they're the ones that know whether that person knows or not. Yeah. Who does your VA loans? Like I may be a lender for one realtor and all they want to give me is their VA loans because they had a relationship for 20 years before they met me.
Yes.
But they know who does the best. They know who knows VA loans and can give the best advice.
Yeah, I would add to that because I just recently closed on a property and I helped them sell a property and then they bought a property. And when they came to me, they had fired their original realtor who had listed their home and wasn't getting it sold. And what I discovered during that conversation was that realtor also said, oh, when we go to buy your house, you're not going to want to use the VA loan product because I'll just never be able to get your offer accepted.
Oh my gosh.
Ah, what is that?
So sad.
Well, again, that's that ignorance I spoke about,
Yeah.
not understanding how to really describe the product as a amazing product. And especially those people could have been putting money down because they were selling a house.
Yes.
They could be selling the house and just using a VA because the rate was better.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where you call the listing agent, your lenders, right? Will call the listing agent and say, hey, look, this is a great product. They could have used conventional. VA works better for them. The appraisers are amazing at VA. And we're going to still close within the time frame of any offer we're writing, 15 days if they're already credit, income, and asset approved, or 30 days if they're not.
Yes.
We're still going to be able to do that. It's no different on a conventional loan versus a VA loan for me. I just want you to know we're writing this because we don't want to change it on you later and be one of those lenders who lies to you and then switches it later. And second of all, we want to be able to say, look, this borrower and qualifies on this, could go the other way. Or guess what? This is actually an easier loan for them to qualify for. Because I don't really advertise as listing agents, but a lot of times that VA loan, because the difference in credit score is actually a lot easier for me to get down than a Fannie Mae with a lower credit score, because again, that's just standard what they accept.
So I just want to make clear. So we're eligible. Now we're pre-approved. We're qualified. We're so qualified that we can actually write an offer without a loan contingency. And we're so qualified because our lender has done all his due diligence in the beginning, qualifying you for this VA loan that you can close it in 15 days. Can they buy all and any types of properties, or are the rules and regs to that?
It's pretty much the same as the 1 to 4 units and all that kind of stuff. They will do manufactured homes. I mean, that same kind of limitations you see on Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. One correction is, depending on how busy the industry is, the VA appraiser, I have to time how long VA appraisals are taking, because remember, it uses their panel of very experienced appraisers, just to make sure, like during Refi Mania, I might have had to say, hey, I need 21 days, not because of the lender, but just because the appraisers might be back.
Right.
And we can't like pay the piper on other loans and say, we're going to pay an extra $200 to get the appraisal faster to close quicker. Yeah. We can't do that on VA. It's a set fee, it's a set deal, and it's a set panel.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the only control we don't have as lenders, is the speed of time for the appraisal. But almost always it's less than 50.
So just to clarify, when buying a house with a VA loan, the property needs to be in VA condition, right? Great electrical. They can't have loose electrical or exposed wires. We need toilets and we need a sink, right?
You know, you'd think veterans can handle the roughest of conditions, but you know,
I mean,
who needs a toilet? Just saying. So actually, that's pretty much the same on a VA loan as any other. It's health and safety issues.
Yeah.
So a lot of times people assume, or realtors assume, that their property is not going to meet VA standards. The only real difference is that they do require termite.
Yes.
Section 1s and 2s.
Yes.
The veteran can pay for it.
1 and 2. Oh, and the veteran can pay for it.
The veteran can pay for it.
Yes.
So if you're going competitive on a property and your seller doesn't want to pay for the termite, the buyer, the veteran, can take that responsibility on.
Yes.
And for Section 2, sometimes, as long as the veteran writes the hold harmless letter,
yes,
we can even let them do the work.
Yes.
Okay. So really, let's get into the loans. Whether it's FHA, VA, conventional, jumbo, pretty much it's the health and safety conditions that any lender without overlays is going to require. Remember, there's a lot of big banks and stuff like that have overlay conditions to what the actual guidelines are on those investors. And that might be look, we want running water, we want toilets, we want, and sometimes you don't have to have all toilets. You just have to have one functioning toilet because they say they're going to go ahead and fix the rest. Carbon monoxide, water heater straps, smoke detectors, bars on windows that won't come loose from the inside. It's really about health and safety issues. And one that's really weird is like a hole in the ceiling, because things can come from the roof from inside the attic, like animals or whatever.
Yes.
And they could consider that a health and safety issue.
Yes.
But VA is not really requiring more than any other loan.
Yes. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So then
it's all about the health and safety, because the investors don't want to get sued later.
Yes.
For putting you in a house, the veteran, the person, whoever it is, doesn't matter, in a house that hurt them. Like we allowed it to happen. Realtors, lenders, we put them at risk.
Yes. So then we shift to, we got the house, we found the house, that's great, right? And yay, we got our offer accepted because your realtor partner and your lender partner knew how to educate the seller and the listing agent so that they would accept and feel confident to move forward to close escrow with us. Who's paying the closing costs?
Depends. So in sort of normal markets with less than tight inventory, you would potentially ask what's called a VA no down payment, no closing costs, because you'd ask the seller to pick up those closing costs.
Yeah.
And of course, usually the price is pushed by that much and we get the closing costs covered. Now with prices being pushed so hard already and it being a way more competitive, it's a little bit more difficult to negotiate for the seller to pay those closing costs. So probably the buyer, family members, gifting is okay.
Yes.
Sell. I've had people, sell cars. Especially veterans, man. They figure out a way. I've had them sell cars, sell motorcycles. Stuff that like before they got sort of started to settle down, the wild, wild west. They were riding their
sold
Harley,
their
and now they
sister.
decided the house is more important.
Hey.
Huh?
I said they sold their sister. I'm teasing.
You
I'm
would
teasing.
never.
Hey. They have better morals than that. Although I don't know your brother.
So, brothers, we have two.
That's an option.
So with that said, okay, right, closing costs, we already mentioned earlier. And so it was about $10K roughly. And
unless we're going up to that $2 million home, then, things change.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And then, say buyer has the option to pay that, seller has the option to pay it, depending on how the market is and negotiating, but everyone has an option to pay that. Now, my big question is the VA appraisal, right? And the shortage on an appraisal potentially, because we all know in this market, people are buying properties for more than they're actually appraising for. Who can pay the shortage, and can a VA buyer still buy if the appraisal comes in short? Explain,
so
please.
That's pretty much the same on every deal, whether it's VA or conventional or jumbo. It's kind of three different options, right? Seller and buyer agree to reduce the price to the appraised value.
Yeah.
Buyer agrees to bring in the difference, or they meet somewhere in between.
Yeah.
And the buyer has to have the ability to bring in that difference. So, but on a VA versus a conventional versus a jumbo, it's not like the appraisal is going to come out any shorter. What's nice on a VA, if they did have some money and they put no money down, or they had the option to put no money down to get the same rates and stuff, they're all of a sudden taking some of what they might have been putting down or could have put down and they didn't. They might have the better ability to bridge that gap than other people who are just barely coming in with their 5%. So again, on every sort of deal like that, it's either a renegotiation, either in full to the appraised value, somewhere in between, or they got to bring in the difference. And that's where, when listing agents are accepting offers, if that veteran or any borrower, in fact, has the ability to bring in that difference, there's somebody who should be able to play the game. But I think what I can say is the VA appraisers are so experienced and they spend the time. It's not this wham bam, thank you ma'am type of appraisal deal where you've got these big old conglomerates doing appraisers and just like appraisals and just trying to do them fast because they're getting less of the appraisal fee than on a veteran. The VA appraiser spends some serious time making sure that they're trying to get that value for the veteran. That's their job. They even call the listing agent if they're going like, hey, what comps did you use and stuff, if they're being off a little bit.
Right.
Not on any other appraisal do they do that, by the way.
Wow. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
So say that there is a shortage on the appraisal and the buyer doesn't want to now move forward with purchasing the property. What happens with that appraisal charge?
Oh, that still gets eaten. That goes straight to the VA administration fee.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of times that VA comes back to me and we do the next one. I try to make sure that they're only paying for one. But again, that's going to be a case by case kind of deal.
Yes.
So, hey, we're going to close on another one. A lot of times I forgot about the first one.
Yeah.
Just because that's kind of one of the things we like to do for our veterans anyway.
Yes.
Is to try to help with that.
And then should a buyer not be able to perform due to the fact that there's an appraisal shortage, now they don't qualify for their home loan and so forth, a seller doesn't have particularly the option to penalize them for that, correct? Because it's VA.
No, I mean, they basically are going to be able to say, we're not moving forward and get their deposit back.
Yes. Because they're protected by the VA, correct?
There's some protections on a VA.
Yes.
So, but I mean, that's kind of the same on everything else, right? I mean,
even FHA.
If they waive their appraisal or they're trying to bring in the difference, I mean, they usually use the inspection to get out anyway.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we know that most people don't end up, if the appraisal doesn't come in and they don't bring in the difference or renegotiate, I don't know, maybe you've seen it more, but I really haven't seen where they don't get their deposit back as long as they bail out early.
Mm-hmm. So I'd like to end with this. I have a VA loan. I have a property in a VA loan, and now I want another one. What was that? I thought you said something about that earlier, Tim.
So a couple things. One, you could sell it and then buy a new one because your full eligibility will be restored. And one of the things you have to really realize is that a lot of lenders will want to delay because they want to see that eligibility come up. So you have to be dealing with a VA lender who really knows how to say, hey, we have the closing statement. We know it's going to be restored. We'll hold it on our books and send it in for insurance after we've seen this one cleared. Not all lenders will do that. It's something that's a really sort of finite thing that people need to really understand. The other thing is, let's say they had a VA loan where they didn't use all their eligibility, and now they're going to come buy it. Maybe they bought one before. Either one, that house has been refinanced or sold. It's eligible again.
Yes.
Or if they didn't use their full eligibility, they might have some left for the next one. Okay.
So I want to understand that, which is full eligibility. How do they figure that part out? Like, what does that mean? In my mind, I'm like,
we go to the
money.
Veterans Administration, then they tell us what eligibility is there and what's not.
Okay.
So do they have full or is it partial?
Okay.
And that's where we want to start early, get the application, get the Social Security number, run it through the Veterans Administration's VA loan stuff, get those answers to be able to tell them. But I mean, almost every time I've done it, either they know that they're tied up on another VA loan, that they have that one and they're going to sell it.
Yes.
Or they've already potentially refinanced it before and now they don't have it anymore, so they're eligible again. Yeah. Very few times are you using partial eligibilities. I mean, I can't, I've been done this for VA loans for 28 years. I don't remember one where we use partial eligibility, maybe one out of thousands.
So you can only have one VA loan at a time, generally, is because they've used their full eligibility.
Generally.
Yes. Okay. And you could potentially refinance that VA loan into a conventional loan so that you now have a new eligibility to buy another property with your VA loan.
Correct. So a lot of times what veterans do is they decide they want to keep their first home they bought, right?
Yes.
As a rental.
Mm-hmm.
And so they'll refinance that property at some point in time and then convert that one to a Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac loan, and then their VA is eligible again.
Excellent.
So like my brother, it just worked out better for him that he had a VA loan a while back. We had refinanced it, and then he used his VA loan again to buy a fairly expensive house, even though he was a doctor, just because it made a lot more sense for him to preserve the cash for the fixing up.
Yes.
Not because he needed no down payments, because he could leave himself with $100,000 to do the fixing up that he wanted to do as soon as he got the property instead of waiting.
Yes. So what are the 3 tips you want to leave with a VA buyer applicant?
Number 1, find a realtor that understands VA loans and knows how to sell it so that you can get your offer accepted. And Lori knows how to do that.
Yes.
Number 2, find a lender that knows what the heck they're doing with the VA loans to make sure that they offer it to you if it's the best product.
That's Tim.
I'm going to say yes, that's me, but there's others, but not as good, nowhere near as good. All right, and then number 3 is really go through the full approval. It means let your verification of income be done. Let the underwriter underwrite the file so that Lori and I can remove the loan contingencies when we write offers, and take some of that fear by listing agents who don't fully understand the product away, because we're removing the loan contingencies.
Yes.
Those are the 3 best tips. Realtor knows what they're doing. Lender knows what they're doing. Go through the process, even it's more work up front before you get your offer accepted, to get fully approved.
Yes.
And that's kind of the home run.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So Tim, if someone wanted to work with you, I don't understand when they wouldn't. Mm-hmm. If someone should choose to work with you, where can they find you and listen more about you and everything that you have to offer?
So I have kind of 2 sides of that, but if you want to learn more about sort of VA loans and things that loans in nature and stuff, you can go to Straight Up Mortgage Talk on Spotify and YouTube. Again, Straight Up Mortgage Talk, and that's more my just outreach. Here's information. You don't have to use me.
He's an educator. We love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of education and stuff like that. After I wrote a book for that, and then I decided to start making them in short, digestible. Here's anything and everything you could want to know, so that buyers could be more educated, and realtors as well.
Yes.
The second thing, as far as like, hey, I want to know about a VA loan or about a loan, and I want to sort of pick your brain on those questions. It's Tim at TheHLCTeam.com. First 3 letters spell home loan consultant. So Tim at TheHLCTeam.com. The best way to get hold of me is you can text or call 909-260-5252. 909-260-5252. That is direct to my cell phone. At sometimes don't get confused, because you might get my office because I'm real busy. I'll forward it to my office because I'm sitting here, and it helps me a little bit manage what's coming at me.
Yes.
But
yes.
Awesome.
And I look forward to just whether it's just answering a question or getting you pre-approved, or just a question on your existing VA loan or any kind of loan. We're here to help. We really pride ourselves in being sort of experts at what we do.
And you get 5-star reviews every time.
Yeah. Well, and we pride ourselves on helping people, regardless of whether it serves our bottom line that day. Because what we found out over 28 years, it's amazing when you serve, how well that gets rewarded. I mean, you figured it out too, Lori.
Yep.
You're there to help, and when they need help, they come to you for whatever it is.
Yeah.
So we're here.
Yes. And we love working with Tim and his team. They are phenomenal.
Yes, you guys are.
Thank you.
Phenomenal. Because our clients always come back to us and say, oh my gosh, they were so amazing.
Yeah.
And so we get a 5-star review. You get a 5-star review. Our clients are super satisfied. It's a win-win-win.
Yes.
Yeah, I think again, when you work with the realtor that knows how to really sell their buyers to the listing agents and knows how to make sure they keep the deal together, handle any issues, because issues come up.
Yeah.
Low appraisal, this thing, that thing. Inspections are usually the biggest thing that you have to sort of figure out and negotiate with the listing agent for your buyers. But having professionals that know how to make sure that the end result is more important than the fight in between, meaning we want to get those buyers into that home. And that's the most important end result. Now, we also don't want them buying a house where the foundation's falling off either, and nobody's going to do that.
Right.
But you also need to be able to have a strong negotiator on your side, like Lori and her team, to really deal with those issues and go through the transaction. Because it's not just as simple as I bought it, it appraised, and we closed. Sometimes it goes like that. A lot of times it doesn't. And you need a team with experience on both sides, including listing agents. So 3 sides. Listing agent, a lot of times, or when they're short, we have to pick up for them. Buyer side of the agent and the lender side. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, Lori, right?
Yes.
Sometimes
be nice.
we have to do other people's jobs too.
Yes.
But we can do it.
Yeah.
Tim, you're so awesome. And yes,
Thank
we
you.
all can do it. We love you, love you, love you. And if you want to find him on all the social media, he is on all of it. I promise you, you can find him through us. And he's at like Tim Harrison, just personal, right? And then there's
you can pretty much Google Tim Harrison and mortgages, and you'll find my ugly mug on there somewhere.
Excellent.
Pretty sure.
Thank you, Tim. We loved having you.
Thank you guys so much. Love working with you all.
Thank
you.
you.
For the second date. I feel honored. Even if you had 70 dates in between.
Thanks, Tim.
See you later. Bye.